Hey, good day, viewers of Global Pulse News. Today, we bring you something that will make you say, real quick. Imagine a powerful former US president threatening to go in guns blazing at a major African country, and all the while, there's a multi-billion-dollar refinery doing its thing quietly. Yes, you heard me right. We're talking about Donald Trump, Nigeria, and a whopping $20 billion refinery connection that almost nobody's reporting. Now sit tight, because over the next 10 facts, we will unpack this story in pure Malawian style. Sharp, bold, with some cheeky slang, but keeping it serious. We'll break down what's actually going on, why it matters to Africa and to the world, and how you should be watching every move. So grab your tea or whatever you're sipping, and let's roll. First off, Trump's threat. On 1 November 2025, he said that Nigeria is committing Christian genocide, and he suggested that the US might get involved. He basically said the US will not stand by and use loud language about potential military action. Now, for us here in Malawi, this sounds wild. I mean, a man who once called Africa shithole countries, yes, that one, now acting like protector of Christians in Nigeria? Something smells fishy, you see? The numbers also don't match. The data show deaths of Muslims and Christians in Nigeria are both high, meaning it isn't so cut and dry. So fact one, the threat is real. The reason claimed is one thing, but the truth may be another. But hold up, before you think this is just about religion, let's move on to the real money game behind it. Here comes the $20 billion refinery connection. Meet the Dangote Refinery in Nigeria, Africa's largest single-train refinery with investment around that $20 billion mark. It's sitting in Lagos, processing hundreds of thousands of barrels a day, meaning Nigeria could stop importing refined fuel and start refining its own crude. That's big, people. For decades, Nigeria exported raw oil, imported refined fuel, and made someone else rich. But now, the game is changing. And that shift is part of why the threat from Trump looks suspicious. Because if Nigeria controls its energy, it doesn't need to beg for help. And that upsets status quo. So fact two, the refinery isn't just about oil. It's about independence. Now that we know the refinery is in play, let's rewind the history a bit and look at how we got here. Let's rewind. Colonialism, extraction, religion, and power have all been intertwined. Nigeria became independent from Britain in 1960, but the economic geography stayed the same. Raw materials out, finished goods in. The religions on the ground, Christianity and Islam, were introduced by colonizers or via trade long ago. So when someone points at Nigeria and says Christian genocide, you have to ask, is this about faith or about power and resources? For Malawi folks like us, you know how it is when a big brother tells a smaller one, behave. But behind that is money, land, and influence. So fact three, the religious narrative might be the cover story for something deeper. All right, now with that backed into history, let's see the pattern they don't want you to spot. Pattern alert. Whenever a resource-rich country in Africa starts asserting independence, there tends to be pressure. Look at Libya, Ghana, etc. In Nigeria's case, the Dangote Refinery is that moment of true industrial independence. The West has gotten used to being at the front of the queue for African raw materials and selling back refined goods. Nigeria says, nah, we got this now. That shift makes folks uneasy. And when the rhetoric ramps up, like threats of intervention, you have to ask whose cake is being threatened. So fact four, the deeper story is about keeping Africa down and Nigeria is pushing back. But wait, follow the money, because fact five is where it gets even juicier. Follow the money. Nigeria refining its own oil means less buying from Western refineries, less reliance on foreign products, less profit leaking out. Analysts say Nigeria's move reduces dependency on American oil workers, shippers, and refineries. Look, that's major. For us Malawi watchers, think of it like your neighbor building their own maize mill so they don't buy maize from you anymore, and you're upset. That's essentially what's happening. China, Russia, others are stepping in alternative roles too. Nigeria is not just playing nice, it's shifting alliances. So fact 5, independence threatens old business models. And if independence is threatened, what's the real danger? That's fact 6.
The real threat isn't bombs or bombs-away rhetoric. It's industrial independence. The Dangote Refinery is more than a factory. It's a symbol. If Nigeria keeps refining, exporting fuel, controlling its revenue, then Africa begins to change. Others will follow. Kenya, Ethiopia, Rwanda. They'll see the playbook and say, we want our cake too. And folks in old power seats don't like that. So they push back through rhetoric, sanctions threats, or even military talk. So fact 6, this is about control, not just conflict. Now let's talk about timing and politics. Fact 7's juicy. Timing matters. Trump's rhetoric comes at a moment when Nigeria's economy is shifting, the refinery is ramping up, and Nigeria is realigning globally. The politics play into his base: evangelical voters, Christian protection narratives, USA First slogans. For Malawians, you recognize the move of using religion for votes while hiding other aims. So fact 7, the public story is protective, the behind-the-scenes story is strategic. Enough about threats. What's Nigeria doing in response? That brings us to fact 8. Nigeria didn't freak out. The government responded calmly. They said, religious freedom and tolerance are foundational to our nation. They pushed back on the genocide claims. They aren't calling for war. They're defending sovereignty. That's big. Malawian viewers, picture someone coming to your door, saying you're doing wrong, threatening you, but you stay calm, collect your wits, and say, I'll sort this my way. That's Nigeria now. So fact 8, Nigeria is not backing down, and that matters. But the story's even bigger. Fact 9 shows why Nigeria is part of a global script. History repeats. Africa's move toward real independence always triggers pushback. Nigeria is a top oil producer, yet for years imported refined fuel. Now it flips the script. The refinery in Lagos is showing Africa can lead. For Malawi and the region, this is a signal. The global balance of power might shift. So fact 9, the stakes aren't local, they're global. And finally, fact 10, where are we going from here? Here's the future. What happens next will determine who controls Africa's resources and narrative. Nigeria could succeed, refine more, export, lessen imports, and show a path. Or Nigeria could be destabilized, pressured, framed, and the moment lost. So it's not just about one country, it's about a continent. And for us in Malawi, that means keep watching, keep asking questions. Because the story being spun might not be the story happening. So fact 10, this moment matters for all of Africa. All right, fam, that's the rundown. Now we ask you, what do you think? Is Trump defending Christians or defending control? Is this about help or hegemony? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Subscribe to Global Pulse News, smash that like button, and share this video so that the world can see beyond the headlines. Shout out to our sister channels for kids entertainment and learning. Check out Sparkling Kids and Raima Fatima. Let's grow together and be your voice as a family. We're the voice you need, the angle others don't show. Stay tuned. We'll be back with the next story. Thanks for watching.